Hello, viewer. Welcome to today's episode of Women's View. I'm your host, Anne Morimi, and it's a great pleasure to have you as always. I'd like to remind you that we are live on social media. We have a YouTube channel, and the handle is GBS TV Kenya. You can also catch us live on Facebook. The handle is GBS Kenya. In case you want to send us a message or you want to talk to us via SMS, the line to use is 21144. Today we're having a very interesting topic, and I'm joined by some lovely guests in studio from all over the world. And before I tell you what the topic is, I'd like to give them this opportunity to introduce themselves. And well, as usual, I'll start with the ladies first. So I'll start with the lady right on my right. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, viewer. My name is Donna Werner. I'm from Chicago in the United States of America. I am the founder of Dorcas Destiny International, and I also work in the financial services industry.
Welcome to the show, Donna. It's great to have you.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, all the way from the US. Karibu sana.
Yes.
Yes, I have another guest. Karibu sana, welcome.
Hello, viewers. I'm Barbara Fernandez, and I am from Oak Park, Illinois, in the United States of America. And I am actually a retired educator, and I also have my real estate broker's license. I'm a published poet, and most of my time has been spent in education, and I'm very happy to be with you today.
Thank you so much for joining us. As usual, for the sake of gender balance, we have a gentleman in studio. Karibu sana.
Welcome.
Please introduce yourself.
Hello, viewers. My name is Pastor George Meseda. I'm from Awendo, Migori County, but I reside in Nairobi. Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. So today, viewer, we're talking about retiring well. And I know for most of us, retirement seems like it's so far away from us, like it's very distant. But one thing I've come to realize is that time moves in a very sure and steady manner. So today's topic is retiring well. So I think I'd like to start with the lady and the person who has retired amongst us, and that is Barbara. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, though. Where did you grow up, and how is life after retirement?
Well, I grew up in the Lawndale community of Chicago in the United States of America, and I grew up in a household where working was very important. Mm-hmm. My father did not finish high school. My mother was a high school graduate who took care of all 6 of us children while my father worked in a factory. And so as a young girl growing up, I always aspired to do my very best. I always loved school, and I always tried very hard to earn very good grades. So with that being said, I was able to get a 4-year paid scholarship to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, and from there I worked in advertising after I graduated. And what I was doing prior to my retirement, I actually had been working for the State of Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice, where I taught incarcerated male juveniles ages 12 to 19. So I worked there, and it was an environment that became more and more dangerous for teachers because the young men started attacking teachers. And so therefore, since I had been investing in my retirement at the age of 40, I had been putting money aside in preparation for retirement. And I was 62 years old when I did retire, and I think it was a very good choice that I made, and I'm just very grateful that because I had prepared for my retirement in my earlier years, that I could afford to retire and still contribute to my household to help with the expenses.
Wow, that's good. And you know what? When I look at you, I feel like you're enjoying your life right now. You're traveling.
Yes.
You're still doing some education, so you're continuing on. It's not been such a major disruption.
No,
Yeah.
It has not been a major disruption. I had been traveling prior to retirement, and because I have 3 children, and because my youngest daughter, my 33-year-old, is the mother to my one and only granddaughter, and my daughter is now expecting her second baby. So I I've been just really, really fortunate to, have the kinds of things in my life because God has really been good to me. And with planning and just really living a healthy lifestyle, I'm just very, very grateful to be retired. I'm happy about my granddaughter. So I really enjoy being retired.
She's going to be so excited to watch her grandma on TV. So, Pastor, tell us about the Kenyan situation because you do get to meet a lot of people who come to you to seek counsel. Do you feel that Kenyan people, do we prepare well for retirement?
Yeah, not really. We do not, as a Kenyan, not prepared for retirement. So not so many people are prepared.
Yes.
But the equation is different from how it was 10, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Then people were very much not prepared.
Yeah,
but this time you find people are somehow trying to prepare for their homestay.
Okay.
This is because of many initiatives that is spearheaded by churches.
Okay.
And is spearheaded by government.
Yes.
Through its agency of Retirement Benefits Authority.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they have been teaching people on how to save.
Yes.
And also the opening up of NSSF.
Exactly.
National Social Security Fund.
Yes.
Then you could not be given money until you reach a certain age.
Yes.
Today they can give you money as in when you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And also they allow not only salaried people, but even businessmen and people who are out there to go and save for Social Security setup.
Okay.
So there are also things that are kind of like fund managers.
That's right.
Where you can actually take a lump sum of money and put it there for good management.
Yes.
So then you can get your retirement in full.
Mm-hmm.
You asked, before we came live on so, you asked me a question why it is a trend. Mm-hmm. People fear retiring and thinking that if they retire, they will die soon.
Exactly, yes.
It is yes and no. Mm-hmm. What we see is that there is fear of unknown.
Yeah, fear of unknown.
Yeah, because many a times people are busy waking up 5 o'clock, going to work by 8 o'clock, and then you return by 5 or after.
Exactly.
Every day you're busy. Your brain is busy, your time is well occupied. Mm-hmm. But you find, yes, that those who have gone back home, that they are not now busy getting to die quickly. One is because there's no fallback investment that they prepared long before they retired.
Okay.
And so you find them idle.
Yes,
and you find stress is catching up also because family will never tire up by asking the breadwinner, the former breadwinner, of the necessities that are needed.
So people still approach them for advice and for even money.
Of course.
Yet their sources of income have dried up.
Yeah, you dried up and you die. But you find many people now with the steady pensions money that retirees are getting now from the government, unlike before, that you retire, it's like you are put into a dustbin and you walk tirelessly looking for your funds until you die without getting it. But these days, the time for government quick initiative. People, when you retire, you now get your money periodically every month. Yes. So that even if you didn't do business, can sustain you. Because
at least you have something.
Yes, you have some.
At the end of the
you
month.
have some happiness that you can still count the days running to the end month that you will get something however small. Exactly. And then you find elderly people with the government initiative that they are getting some stipend.
They are getting stipend every month.
Every month. So these are sustaining. But
so
then
those are positive. At least there's something better.
Yeah, well,
than before.
we appreciate government where they are done good. Another thing that I should advise people on is don't just depend on the pension money, because there are people who doesn't have it.
Exactly.
And you find one wrong thing that people do, you wait until you get a package of retirement.
Yes.
And in lump sum. Then you rush to start a business, asking yourself, what can I do? But you've not been in business before.
Exactly.
So it will not take off. And
likely you're going to lose the lump sum now.
All of it.
All of it,
And the
yes.
family will be on you, baying for your blood. Where have you taken our money? Because it's their money.
Yes.
So what I would advise viewers is that whether you're working or not, start doing something small.
Exactly.
Even in, especially our youth, start doing something even when you're in college,
Yes.
even in high school. Start doing something. You can start selling airtime. You can.
Oh, by that you mean like develop a skill.
Yeah, you develop a skill.
a separate source of income
Yes.
other than what you're.
Yes,
know,
you
your
prepare
employment.
your
Okay.
life and body and mind for retirement,
Yes.
on what to do after retirement.
Okay.
So just start doing something small. You call it a fallback investment. Have a small or big or medium,
Yes.
so that when you go back home, you still be busy the way you are when you are working.
Exactly.
Then you will be killing more days, and you see to it that, like our sister is enjoying her
I know.
retirement.
She's enjoying her retirement very much.
Yes, yes.
Donna, when you were introducing yourself, we talked about an organization that you're part of.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit more about what it does.
Well, Dorcas Destiny International was founded primarily to support the work of Pastor Maceda with Motivated by Love King's Academy,
Okay.
which is the school that he founded in his village.
All right.
He and I met in Toronto in 2016, and he asked me to support the school, sponsor the school, and after prayer and thought, I said that I would. And that has occupied a lot of my time since 2016, and in the time of just kind of trying to develop a vision for the school and the organization. That was what brought me to my friend Barbara here. She's done a lot of work in retirement, quote unquote. So I think the piece about the retirement is very important. What Pastor Maceda said is that people look at a personal vision and a personal plan for their lives. That way you don't necessarily have to fear the unknown.
Exactly.
In the financial services industry, one of the things that we talk about a lot is the fact that retirement is not a function of age, it's a function of planning and having enough money so that whenever you do retire, it's not that you're going to just go somewhere and die. You're going to go somewhere and continue what it is God has given you to do as your purpose and the destiny that He created for you even before the foundation of the world.
Exactly. So it's a continuation of your purpose opening up.
Exactly.
And already, you see, with the association that you have, it's something that is going to be very long. It's going to outlive you even.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's very critical for people to actually get projects, get involved in giving back to society.
Right.
Because these are things that even after your employment is over, they're going to continue, and they're going to continue needing your input.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And how is it in the US? Are people better prepared for retirement, especially financial-wise?
Not at all. It's
Not at
exactly
all?
the same way.
Oh, I thought that things would be better over there.
Yeah, one would think, but it's in many places. People. I think people around the world, they don't necessarily look at the future or look toward the future.
Yes.
People are so busy looking at what's right in front of them right now.
Very myopic.
Yes, very myopic, and they can't necessarily look beyond today to the future. So that planning is very, very important. And you heard Barbara mention that word several times, and that
Yes.
she was able to retire at the time that she did because she did plan.
That's right.
And in the United States, they've moved from what they call a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution plan. Defined benefit meaning the person wasn't necessarily responsible for their own saving,
Yes.
but that the company that they worked for or the governmental entity or whatever was the person or the body behind having those retirement funds available. Okay. Now it's shifted to a defined contribution plan where you are personally contributing and saving towards your own retirement. Oh. And that's one of the things that has been a shortfall for a lot of people. I've met with people who are just in their 50s beginning to want to save for retirement, or think
They want
about
to start
saving for
contributing at that point.
at age 50.
And the retirement age, you said, is about 70.
The full retirement age would be 70, but in the U.S. they have what they call Social Security normal retirement age, at which point the government will allow you to receive not only Social Security, but you're also able to earn as much money on your own as you would like.
Okay.
In the United States, the way the system is built, you can begin to retire after a certain age, but you will get only a limited amount of money.
Yes.
But if you wait till your full Social Security normal retirement age, you can earn as much as you want to earn and still get the Social Security that you contributed to and your employer contributed to during your working years.
Okay, okay. So I think then the challenge is actually the same all over the world. I think we definitely need to up our planning.
Yes.
And one thing is that when you're young, somehow retirement seems so far. Barbara,
Yes.
now you're retired.
Yes.
And what can you tell people that will help them to be able to, what is it that inspired you to become so focused and to be able to put that money aside that maybe all of us here can learn from you?
Well, education is key. And when I turned at the age of 40, I was looking forward to retirement. And with that being said, I went to retirement seminars to understand exactly what approaches I should take in order to successfully retire. So when you are thinking, well, you should look ahead towards retirement, and in so doing, you should really seek out the free seminars. I went to quite a few free retirement seminars where I was able to learn exactly what to do. And with that being said, I always allocated a certain amount of money to set aside through what is referred to as a deferred compensation plan. So I start putting money away in a deferred compensation plan. I start putting money away in a IRA Roth. I do have 2 of those because I started that when I was in my 40s. I was putting money into my Roth plan. And actually, being an educator, there is an advantage in the United States because I'm very grateful for the pensions that they have in place for educators. And so since I had worked in the city of Chicago as well as in the suburban school districts, I was able to accumulate pensions, and of course money was contributed by myself out of my paycheck every pay period. So much money would get taken out, and then of course
You'd feel already, I think you still feel the pain, right? Based on how you said that, so much money was taken. But now you're enjoying it, right?
I'm enjoying it. And so the benefit in the employer taking out a certain portion of money towards retirement is that when you do retire, you do have a pension that you can depend on. Yes. So in my case, actually the Social Security part of it, they actually penalized my Social Security because they said, oh, you have a teacher's pension here, you've got a teacher's pension there, you've got a teacher's pension here.
You mean you had saved too much?
Yes,
You're
yes.
an outlier.
So
Maybe you can tell us how much.
They chopped away at my Social Security, and it was so small. I was just so disappointed. And I said, all these years, I had taught for 28 years as an educator, and 11 of those years was as an administrator, and 17 years in the classroom on the high school level, on the state of Illinois level, teaching in prison, and of course, I'm an adjunct college professor as well. So with all that being said, I'm like, oh my God, it was like I was penalized. And so what I actually did, even though I had applied for my Social Security, and of course I totally agree with my friend here, Donna, that yes, 70 years old is what they would like for you to do, work until you're 70. And while you're working until you're the age of 70, you're always contributing towards your Social Security income. And so actually I had stopped my Social Security income because it was so small. And when I stopped it, I'm planning on reestablishing it. I can reapply for it at the age of 70. I'm 66 years young. And
Just 4 more years.
Yes, in 4 more years I will collect my Social Security. And of course, I did say earlier, I have the IRA Roths in place. So I thank God that I just did what I did when I did it, because I prepared.
You prepared, and that is what we're saying is so critical. And Donna, you also help people to plan for their retirement.
Yes.
Because you're in the financial services. And we also have financial services in Kenya, but somehow people seem to think that retirement is so far away. Yet, if you start to contribute earlier, like when you're even in your 20s, immediately you get a job,
Yes.
the issue of compound interest tends to
Right.
work so well. So I don't know, is there something that maybe you can say that would help people to be able to start contributing immediately? Because that time tends to run out quickly.
Right, it absolutely does. And one of the things that's important for people to consider about retirement is thinking, just use simple math to determine how much you're going to need.
Okay.
So if a person is making, let's be very, very conservative and say $10,000 a year. And if you look at being retired for 20, 10, 15, how many ever years you intend to be retired, just the simple math tells you that that's a lot of money.
Yes.
So the best thing to do, as you were just saying, is to start contributing even a small amount of money early, because that small amount of money will compound and will grow based on the time value of money and the fact that you can look at, there are actually calculators out there on the internet you can find that'll show you if you start contributing sooner and stop after, let's say, 5, 10, 15 years, compared to waiting those 10 or 15 years and starting to save for a longer period of time, you'll find that when you start saving earlier and stop, you'll end up in the long run with a lot more money than if you wait and start contributing later.
Exactly.
So look at what you need to live right now, and knowing that the longer you live, the more you'll need, and then there's inflation and all those kind of things. If a loaf of bread costs $1 now, it might cost $15 later.
When you've retired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, cost of living tends to increase.
Cost of living does increase, and especially if you're going to have a family and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So just being disciplined to put away little amounts of money, and then as you make more, then you can put more away. But don't delay the starting process. Start as soon as you can.
Basically, what Donna is saying is start now.
Start now.
Pastor, there's also this other thing that I don't know whether it's true or not, but the way that women handle retirement and the way that men handle retirement, is it the same? Because I tend to feel as though for men it's harder, or men tend to die earlier. Is it that they're not able to handle the retirement, or is it that there's so much pressure around them? What can you say about that?
There is, that's a wonderful question. There is a big difference between how ladies handle their retirement and how men handle their retirement. What is killing men so much is, I would say, stress.
Yes.
Because as a man, I can imagine the stress I have. Like after the show, the phones you get from relatives, phones you get from church people, like I'm a church person, phones you get from friends, and phones you get from relatives, I mean even immediate families.
Yes.
Yeah, like the asking on a man does not stop even by children having grown up. Your grandchildren also start the same way your children
asking.
Yes.
It does wear you down, right?
Yeah,
I think
it wears
so.
you down, but they don't know.
And you don't, sometimes the men, they don't communicate to ask us
that
it's wearing you down so that we can stop.
That is the other thing I was going to. Okay, there's something I will add on to what Sister Donna talked about on what is actually making people die fast in retirement.
Yes.
But before we go there, let me just come to what you've just asked. Men tend to be quiet people.
Yes.
They keep things a lot in their heart.
That's true.
And one of the examples is that when burglars or thieves come breaking the house, you are with your wife, a man, you will never hear a shout of a man. They will never air their problems. They will never shout. They will never cry out. They will cry inwards.
Yes.
Even if he's being cut, he will just roar. Okay? Yes. But the woman will make a lot of noise for people to know. That shows you how men can keep things in their heart.
That's true.
Okay? It takes a clever woman who actually looks after the husband well, to try to ward off people from him, or try to advise him on how to handle matters. And that's why you find some women would say it is enough and start telling people that it's not in and you're in, even without your knowledge.
Yes.
Because women are good accountants, okay? They keep money. They know how to keep money. They know how to keep possession of anything that has come in the house.
Yes.
All right? They will even come into your money management to stop you from spending. And also, I was telling somebody, I can come into the house and hand over to you some money to keep for me. Not yours, to keep for me.
Somebody else.
Meaning, I will want them anytime.
Yes.
But if the woman will accept, yes, I'll keep it for you. But the moment you're going back to ask for that money, you ask me a lot of questions, which defeats the purpose, okay? So you will ask me what I'm going to do with the money, how much do you want? I will explain what you say. You will even try to determine how much is sufficient for what I'm asking for.
Yes.
You'll give me transport and tell me this one, even if you're, okay, us, we don't take beer, but some people who take beer, your wife will give you money sufficient for only 2 beers.
I know.
All right? And this is...
And it was your money that you gave.
This is your money.
Yes, this is not like a woman.
Yes. And for us who doesn't take beer, she will immediately suspect that you want to help somebody out with the money.
Yes.
So they suspect every visitor. And then they will ask you, what did he want? You'll try to hide. They say, no, he was just talking. No, he wanted money from you. I said, no, he didn't want money. So women are people who can keep money, and that's why they live long. And in the house, even children, they love their mother. They revered her. They really respect the mother. But they know when it comes to beating somebody, the father will do that. When it comes to pushing things with weight, with a lot of power, men will do that. When it comes to giving money, men will do that. So they all come to you. They don't go to the mother, okay? Yeah. When it comes to discipline, tough discipline, men will do that. So they all run to you for matters of asking. They want you to help them with ABCD.
Yes.
Going back to what I said, she said, what can help people not to die fast, and even on the perspective of men, this happens much in Western world. They like touring. They like going on safaris. They like, and you know, going on safaris, people doesn't know. It helps wade out
It's so good.
pressure, home pressure, and even work pressure and everything. You go there in the wilderness, you go there and see new things, and then just listen to the songs of birds. That one alone take away things that were stressing you.
That's correct.
So Africans doesn't travel a lot because they see to it that you find somebody with a lot of money, but he doesn't want to spend it on traveling because he's seeing that that's a waste.
Exactly.
So one such aspect that can help men live longer, even African men, is to travel.
Travel, yes.
Like traveling waits things stress out, like I said. It also helps you in networking.
Exactly.
It also helps you in expository nature. You expose yourself, you see things that you never seen. And then by networking, I met her in Toronto. If I had not traveled to Canada, I wouldn't have met her.
Yes.
You see, if she had not traveled to Canada, she wouldn't have met me.
Exactly.
Okay? So that is one example. She's come here today by virtue of our meeting. And she's made a lot of friendship now. Okay? Another thing, which I know is doing well in the Western world, is credit union. I mean, cooperative unions.
Okay.
In Africa, cooperative unions do well in urban centers and at places of work.
When you have the income, you know,
Yeah.
because you're contributing.
That's right. So it alleviates poverty, even in the rural areas, even in your working career.
Yes.
Because your salary will never be enough.
Yeah, that's correct.
But you can talk to friends to witness whatever you're taking, then you take a lump sum.
Yeah.
You're still at work. So I'm appealing to viewers who have retired, who are aspiring to retire. They have learned a lot at place of work. When they go back to the rural areas, we don't have cooperative unions doing well in rural areas. So that's why there is a lot of poverty in the rural areas.
Yes.
So that mama who is selling vegetables, that mama who is selling sand, and man who is fetching sand, we can put together the sand and then sell them through a cooperative.
Yes.
Then we'll get higher yield.
Correct.
Instead of selling it by yourself, brokers will come to you and force you with a few shillings, you'll sell it out, and it's not compatible with the work you did when fetching this thing,
Exactly.
harvesting sand. And then I would appeal to viewers who have retired to go back and not to just keep quiet with the vast knowledge they've gotten.
Yes.
They should actually help our rural folks to form cooperative societies,
Yes.
so that they can get money, they can sell their merchandise through the cooperative societies. And then everyone will have money. And then this issue of asking people who have come on leave money, help me with money, do what, will never rise again.
It will end.
Yes.
Because now they'll be empowered.
They will be empowered.
And they'll know how to. And you see, the people who are coming from the urban areas,
Yes.
they need to realize that they have a wealth of information.
Yes.
And as they share it,
Yeah.
that helps them with their days.
That's right. True.
Because basically, sometimes we also just need to have something to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
guess
you
what?
find
we
many
need to take
people-
a break
Yeah.
because time is not on our
Thank
side.
you, thank
but
you.
when we come back, viewer, we shall continue with this very interesting topic. So keep it here. We shall be right back.
Thank you.
Kennedy. Welcome back, viewer. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Today we're talking about retiring well. When you get your first job or when you're in high school or college, retirement usually seems to be so far away, but time is very consistent, and before you know it, it's time to retire, either from the time that you're 60 or from the time that you're 65. And it's good to plan for that, because if you don't plan for your retirement, it's going to be very difficult. So with me in studio, I have guests, and they're basically telling us how to retire. Well, remember that we are on YouTube. The handle is, the channel is GBS TV Kenya. On Facebook, it's GBS Kenya. And in case you want to send us a message, the number to use is 21144. So one thing that we talked about earlier also is there's the issue of having money to take care of you when you retire, but there's also the issue of having something to do. So we encourage people to develop hobbies, develop skills, develop like what you're doing in Migori, open up a school when you're able, because that school is going to continue to require your advice. You can even be on the board, so that the information and the knowledge that you've acquired while you're working, you can now transfer it to others in your retirement. So is that the same? Before we left, we were talking about retirement for women and for men. How do you find the situation to be in the US? Is it the same for both, or is it harder for men?
I think it's about equal for men and women, because similar to here, men have pressures, women have pressures. We have many, many single parents in the U.S., many female single parents in the U.S., depending on what kind of community you're looking at. And some of the men are, on the flip side of that, they're having a difficult time finding work and employment, so they end up in some things that can get them in trouble. So depending on what kind of communities you're looking at, primarily African American communities in urban centers, there can be a big disparity between what single parent females have available to them compared to males.
Yeah, that's right.
So it is definitely a situation in both the U.S. and apparently here in Kenya also.
Okay. Another thing that happens in Kenya is that a lot of times parents look to their children to be their retirement plan per se. Like this is the thought. Huh? I took care of you when you were young. I invested all my money in you. Now guess what? It's time for payback.
Right.
I mean, honestly, Pastor, you're laughing, but do you feel that parents, is that okay? I mean, is that an okay mentality? That so we should encourage the children to take care of their parents, or is it something that they should stop and work out? And I don't know, you'll tell us about the US, whether there's that expectation as well. But here, it's like, I have many children, my retirement is sorted. You take care of my health, you take care of my rent, you take care of my food. You know, there's that expectation.
Yeah.
What do you think? Pastor, you're really laughing.
Okay, why I'm laughing, I saw a marketing episode written by Madison Insurance. I think it was 3 years ago. And they were talking of retirement plan, and they gave a photo, not a picture, a photo of old parents coming in for a visitation to their son in an urban center like Nairobi or Eldoret or whatever. And with them was a bunch of a banana, and they had their granddaughter carrying a very big hen coming in. So they were knocking, and the guys, the young couples, were still asleep, and they were asking, looking at the watch, at this time, who is knocking? You know, buses that come from upcountry come very early.
They come very early in the
because
morning.
they run overnight if you're coming from western part
Yes.
or Mombasa. So the wife went to open the door, and then here the parents of the son, of the husband of this young lady.
Yes.
And they were profusely laughing and smiling big, and their daughter-in-law became very furious with them, did not welcome them at all. And it took time, she took time at the door, and it forced the husband to come and check who are these people. Honey, why are you taking too much time at the door? And she turned to say, is your daddy and mommy?
They're here, unannounced.
At the door.
At the door. And the man is like, what again?
Again?
Because
They're
they
here?
were here. Because they come at the end of the month. And The end of last month they were here. And why again? And then they gladly handed over to their son the hen and the banana, the raw banana, and they were not welcome. So there was a word written, don't make this your retirement plan. Okay, well, it depends on with individual thinking.
Yes.
Personally, I get pride in helping my parents.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have that now, but I used to.
Yes.
I used to get pride in helping them.
Okay.
Whenever I give, I feel very happy in my heart.
Yes.
That being a duty as a son or a daughter to take care of your old parents.
Yes.
Because they did take care of you. Though some children say it was your duty to do it.
It was not an investment.
It's not an investment, but when we look on biblical perspective,
Yes.
it tells us that respect your parents, help your parents take care of your parents, so that your days be added unto this world. And also culturally, children are taught to respect and nurture their parents, the same way they nurtured you.
Yes.
So I wouldn't call it, I think making your children your retirement plan is an analogy of the urban setup, I mean of the young of today, who doesn't know what respect means.
Okay.
And then they abdicate their duty from protecting their because these people would have very much liked to save, but because you are many, all the monies they got goes to the school fee.
Upkeep, yes.
So they didn't say she will fetch for herself. They said, this is our dear daughter. Let us educate her and give her a good future.
Yes.
So they have given you a good future, and what you are earning is more than what they used to earn.
A lot more.
So just set aside something towards your parents, because if any case, they will not live long with you.
Yeah,
They
you
will
should
soon
be
go.
happy that they're still alive.
And whatever you are giving them will stop.
It will. You
So,
come back to you anyway.
In fact, there's no two-way traffic about helping your parents, whether they have.
Yeah.
We have people who have parents who are millionaires, even in retirement.
Yes.
But still, when you go, they don't ask you, but you feel within you that, let me give my dad something,
Yes.
or buy my dad a vehicle. Like myself, my son has bought 2 vehicles for me. And not at one time I've ever asked my son, can you buy me a child? I mean, a vehicle. So the 2 occasions, one occasion, he came with the car parked at the door.
How did you feel?
And then came up, came to the house,
To the
and asked me,
surprise.
Daddy, take me down. To do what? No, I want you to see something. So we went down and then told me, this is my car. Which one? This one. I said, yeah, and that was Audi A6. And said, this is the key, this is yours. You see?
Nice.
So tell me how you'll feel. I never asked for it.
Yes.
Yeah. And another day, he also came and surprised me with a vehicle, a brand new vehicle.
Wow.
Of which I'd never asked again. But I just tried to educate him. I told him, we can't have too much vehicles or too many vehicles. You don't have to invest in vehicle every time. We can do something else.
Yes.
But I appreciate what you've done. Okay? You see, I've not asked for it.
You haven't, yes.
But if you try teaching people the word, don't make your children an investment plan, then there are some foolish young boys and girls who will pick it up in a negative way.
Exactly.
And stop helping their parents.
Yes.
Telling their parents, it's not my duty to feed you. Okay?
Yeah. Don't look to
and
me.
then I think culturally you are attracting wrath of their anger.
Yes.
And when your parent is angry and says something in anger, then it destroys your life and the
there's no
life of your
peace at
children.
home.
Also, I think that is what the Bible was talking about. That is the opposite of blessings.
Exactly.
So I think let us plan how to live well after retirement,
Yes.
but let us not also forget to help our parents.
Exactly.
Then to extend that respect to other people.
As well.
Yeah, when you are in a bus, an old man or woman comes in, stand.
Yes.
And that's how we were taught.
Yes.
When a pregnant woman comes in, whether she's young, you have to know the load she's carrying.
Yes.
She might fall and die, and you are just seated, so surrender your seat.
Yes.
A young woman comes with a child, maybe she doesn't have to ride in a bus, juggling up.
Yes.
Offer to carry the child. If the child refuses, give her the seat. So that is, I think, the norm of how we can live well among ourselves
As a
and amongst the
community.
society.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Barbara, over to you with the same question. What is your view about looking to your children to be the ones that will provide for you when you're...
Well, in my opinion about my children, I have 3 children, and I never have expected for them to assist me in any way during my retirement. I have always worked all the time, and I do have a husband, so that's a big help, and I do help my parents. I love helping my parents.
Yeah, listen to what Pastor says.
Yes,
It's a source of joy.
My father, like I said earlier, he was a high school dropout, and my mother just graduated from high school, and they really don't have anything to depend on but Social Security, which is really not enough. So the Lord is constantly blessing me, so since the Lord blesses me, I bless my parents. I don't have a problem with helping them. I help them as often as I can. And I believe that my children, if I really asked them to help me, I believe they would help me.
Yeah.
But you know, my children already have their expenses.
I know.
And
They
so
have
I
little
try to
ones.
be respectful and mindful of what they need to do to really live. And of the 3 children, our youngest daughter, even though she's married, she always has her hand in my husband's pocket for something or another. So, you know,
The last one, huh?
yes, it really varies per family.
It does,
I know that it's just not the same situation for every family.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, you know, you know, my children are good children, and so I think that if a parent is expecting for their child to help them, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that it's better to ask than to not ask and then suffer.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't like the idea of my parents suffering. I don't want them to suffer.
That's true.
They have sacrificed for me,
Oh, yes.
and I wouldn't have gotten where I am today if it were
Without
not
them.
for my parents.
Yes.
My parents have always supported me. I'm the first college graduate in my immediate family. I have 5 sisters, and so my parents have always helped me in some kind of way, and I'm just grateful to God that they're still with me.
I know that is such a privilege.
Yes, it is a
Yeah.
privilege. It is definitely a privilege. My dad is 88, and my mother is 87. And I love them dearly, and I don't want anything to happen to them. So
I know.
I
You
help
want them
them.
to live for long, forever.
You want to see them around all the time.
You know, it's always so reassuring, you know, that you can call your mom or call your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is. So that's awesome. And maybe, would you like to add on to that, maybe? That view of your children supporting you?
Well, in what I do much of the time in financial services, I act as what they call a benefit counselor.
Okay.
So I'm sitting with people who are employees of a company and talking through what their options are with the benefits that their employers have provided for them, whether it's health insurance, dental insurance, short-term disability, life insurance, and so forth.
Okay.
And I have a lot of conversations about, you know, what if? Because in financial services, you know, in the insurance industry, what if is the key.
That's true.
You know, what if you get sick? Or what if you wreck your car? What if you need to retire? Whatever the case may be. And many young people, back to that conversation, many young people believe that their parents are the ones who will fill in the gaps if something happens with
For
them.
them.
Yes.
As a, you actually think that it's the flip.
The flip for a
Yeah.
lot of young people. Because
They're looking at their parents.
Yes,
Okay.
because you may be familiar with the Affordable Care Act, which made a lot of big changes with the health insurance industry in the United States. Parents were able to cover their children with health insurance up to the age of 26. And many of the people that I sit with to talk about benefits are people who are 22, 23, 24 with a full-time job.
I know, and they're still thinking their
and
parents will come through for them.
And the parents do.
And they
Because
do,
at the same time as I'm meeting with the employees that are 26 or 23 or 24, I'm also meeting with people who are parents who are 40, 50, 60,
yes.
and they are still feeling the heart, well, I'll go ahead and I'll keep my child on my health insurance until they turn 26. And I've had many of them tell me, well, I know they make more money than I do, but I guess nevertheless, I want to take care of them. So it's still the heart of a parent to be a parent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some of that I think has taken the mindset of the child maybe in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
It's breeding a little bit of dependency and maybe selfishness. Oh, I know my parents will take care of me, rather than thinking it's my responsibility to take care of my parents.
Exactly.
So I think generationally there are some things that have shifted that may or may not be for the betterment of the family and of society overall.
Yeah, because that's what we then later came to say, that if there's so much dependency on you when you're retired, it drains you. If it drains you, then it affects your health and could even lead to you dying early, you know. So it's good that we're having this conversation, because that has actually come out that sometimes, you know, the independence is not yet quite there. The independence of the children, they're still so dependent on their parents. So nevertheless,
when they are married.
Even when they're married,
Yes.
I know, even when they're married, and you expect them to now totally like break off on their own, you find that the dependency is still there. So nevertheless, retirement is coming, and I'm happy to say that at least I'm in a room with people who are almost retiring and they're looking comfortable and happy about it.
Yes.
I'm very encouraged to actually get my savings together.
Congratulations.
So that when I get there, I can be able to travel. I love what you said about traveling, and it's very true that a lot of Africans see going on vacation as a total waste of resources, as opposed to seeing it as actually having a very good effect on you in terms of reducing your stress, because you still have to take care of yourself.
Even eating well.
Even eating well, yes.
Some refuse. I know very, very good millionaires with monies, but they don't want to eat well. They don't want to put on well.
Yes.
Another aspect that also kills is that failure to build a house.
Yeah.
Because you've been a manager, you've been a CEO, and you find yourself not having time to build a house at home.
Yes.
Home is home. Home is best.
Home is best, yeah.
After every other thing, you need a home.
Yeah.
And even your wife need her own home,
Yes.
her own apartment. So it is better also because you know you are retiring, like in Africa, you retire and go back to the rural home.
Yes.
You find you don't have a house, you people are insulting you, they look down upon you. I mean, the good name you had, the big name you have is vanished, gone,
Yes.
because you don't have a name back home. And also another thing is that we, as people who are working and nearing to retire, you should actually team up with the people back home. Like what you said in the opening, pay back time.
Exactly.
It is not only that you pay back to individuals, you pay back to the community.
Exactly.
Yeah, find something like cooperative, develop it, teach people about it, and then build a home.
Yes.
And also participate in the fundraisings, participate in family gatherings.
Basically, build your social capital.
Social capital.
Because that's what you need a lot when you're retired.
You have had friends.
You want a lot of time with people.
Like she's worked for 28 years.
Yes.
Before she retired, she had comrades, she had workmates whom she was mingling with.
Yes.
But after retiring, she has left them.
Yes.
And you find yourself gone back to your
There's a
family
gap, yes.
as a base. So culturally and socially, make friendship and make friends so that you get people that you can socialize with,
Exactly.
talk to.
And sorry to interrupt you, but we need to get into our parting shots now because of time.
Thank you.
So I think I'll start with Donna. Maybe your final thoughts to the audience. Yeah.
So viewer, thank you for listening to what we had to say today. And I would just like to reiterate that you should, even if it's just a small amount of money, begin to save now. You will be so glad that you did when it's time to retire.
Excellent. Thank you. Over to you, Barbara.
Well, viewers, I want you to know that when you retire and before you retire, find something that you enjoy doing. If it's singing, keep singing. If it's dancing, keep dancing. If it's reading, keep reading. So the more you activate your mind and keep your body moving, the less likely you are going to have kinks in your health. So just stay busy, stay prayerful, enjoy yourself. Think life, not death.
Amen. That's awesome.
Number one, love God, your maker, and make peace if you want to live long with people. If you have imagined or real enemies, go to them directly or through proxies to ask for forgiveness. And then that will help you build social capital, and it will help you build friendship. So when you are walking in love and walking at peace with God, then sky is the limit. Thank you very much.
Excellent. There you have it, viewer. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm very delighted to know that it is possible to retire well. It's possible to have the social capital. So there's no point of being scared about it. If your retirement age is coming up, that is something to look forward to. The parting shot also from my end is think life, not death. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I like that one.